Charlemagne, often hailed as the father of Europe, reigns as a pivotal figure in the narrative of the Dark Ages, a period traditionally marked by societal regression following the fall of the Roman Empire. Known for his military prowess and administrative reforms, Charlemagne's legacy is intertwined with the era's transition from chaos to a semblance of order. The Dark Ages, spanning roughly from the 5th to the 10th century, were characterized by feudal fragmentation and cultural stagnation. Charlemagne's emergence as a unifying force altered the historical trajectory, as he sought to consolidate and stabilize a fractured Europe through conquest, religious reform, and educational revival. The significance of Charlemagne lies not only in his role as a conqueror, but also as a catalyst for the Carolingian Renaissance. This period of cultural and intellectual revival can be directly attributed to his efforts to standardize education and literacy across his empire. For instance, he established the Palatine School at Aachen and invited scholars like Alcuin of York to promote learning. This exertion of power and influence over both secular and ecclesiastical domains helped lay the groundwork for modern European polities and institutional structures. Real-world examples of his influence include the widespread adoption of the Carolingian script, which improved legibility and accessibility of texts throughout Europe. Additionally, Charlemagne's implementation of administrative divisions known as counties helped create a more efficient and centralized governance system, which inspired subsequent European models of government. Opinions of Charlemagne vary. Some historians view him as a visionary who paved the way for a united Europe, while others critique his forceful methods, including brutal campaigns against the Saxons that resulted in mass conversions and massacres. These actions earned him the label of a bloodthirsty ruler, showcasing the duality of his legacy. Challenges to his legacy include debates on the level of coercion involved in his reforms and how they affected European development. While many laud his creation of an empire, others argue it was built on oppression and cultural homogenization, stifling diversity. Charlemagne's influence is evident in later aspects of European identity, governance, and even religious comprehension. His reign is a testament to the complexities of leadership and the interplay of power, religion, and culture in shaping history. The examination of his life and the era he dominated allows for a nuanced understanding of the Dark Ages, revealing a time not of complete darkness, but of transformation and foundation. Charlemagne, the bloodthirsty emperor of Dark Age Europe, introduces a concept that vividly describes Charlemagne as a ruler notorious for his aggressive and often ruthless expansion of the Frankish Empire. This characterization emphasizes his military conquests and his role in shaping medieval Europe through force. Charlemagne, also known as Charles the Great, was born in 742 AD and became king of the Franks in 768. His reign is marked by a series of military campaigns that greatly expanded his empire, covering much of Western and Central Europe. The significance of depicting Charlemagne as bloodthirsty lies in highlighting the paradox of his rule, which melded brutal conquest with the pursuit of cultural and intellectual growth during the Carolingian Renaissance. His military strategies and forced conversions, particularly against the Saxons, underscore the violent means by which he consolidated power and spread Christianity. A notable example of Charlemagne's ferocity is the massacre of Verdun in 782, where he allegedly ordered the execution of 4,500 Saxons who refused to convert to Christianity. Underscore the violent means by which he consolidated power and spread Christianity. A notable example of Charlemagne's ferocity is the massacre of Verdun in 782, where he allegedly ordered the execution of 4,500 Saxons who refused to convert to Christianity. This act of brutality is often cited as illustrative of his relentless pursuit of dominance. Another example is the 30-year Saxon Wars, during which Charlemagne conducted a series of campaigns to subdue the Saxon tribes, showcasing his determination to unify and expand his empire by any means necessary. While some historians and scholars praise Charlemagne for laying the foundations of modern Europe and reviving education and culture, others criticize his methods, viewing his forced conversions and harsh punishments as oppressive and tyrannical. This dual perspective generates controversies around his legacy. Critics argue that labeling him as bloodthirsty oversimplifies his complex role in history, overshadowing his contributions to governance and education. Challenges to this view include acknowledging the broader context of the times, a period marked by constant warfare and instability, where brutality was a common tool of power. Detractors may point out that Charlemagne's actions were not atypical for rulers of his era, and some of his harsher measures might have been politically or strategically motivated, rather than inherently cruel. This depiction of Charlemagne as a bloodthirsty leader ties into the larger narrative of his reign, influencing perceptions of his achievements and failures. It underscores the tension between his legacy as a unifying force under Christianity and his reliance on martial prowess and coercion. Understanding this duality provides a nuanced view of Charlemagne's impact on European history, reflecting the complexities of his leadership and the enduring consequences of his rule. The rise to power and expansion of the Carolingian Empire under Charlemagne marks a pivotal chapter in the history of Dark Age Europe. This period was characterized by Charlemagne's ascent as a formidable ruler who dramatically expanded his domains, laying the groundwork for what would become the Holy Roman Empire. Charlemagne, originally king of the Franks, succeeded in uniting much of Western Europe through a series of military campaigns, alliances, and political maneuvering, transforming the Carolingian Empire into a dominant force during the early Middle Ages. The significance of Charlemagne's expansion cannot be overstated. His rule brought relative stability to a region previously characterized by fragmented tribal systems and incessant warfare. His ability to consolidate various territories under a centralized rule paved the way for the cultural and intellectual revival known as the Carolingian Renaissance. This era saw advances in art, architecture, and education, which were facilitated by the newfound political stability and administrative reforms that Charlemagne implemented. A notable example of Charlemagne's expansionist tactics can be seen in his conquest of the Lombard kingdom in 774. Defeating the Lombards, Charlemagne secured his position as king of the Lombards, thus extending his influence over northern Italy. Another significant episode was his prolonged campaign against the Saxons, which spanned over 30 years and resulted in the Christianization and integration of Saxony into his empire. These conquests not only increased the geographic reach of the Carolingian Empire, but also reinforced Charlemagne's reputation as a skilled military leader and strategic tactician. However, Charlemagne's expansionistic methods have also drawn controversial opinions. Some historians champion him as a unifier and patron of culture, while others criticize him as a ruthless leader who imposed his will through force and coercion. Leader and strategic tactician. However, Charlemagne's expansionistic methods have also drawn controversial opinions. Some historians champion him as a unifier and patron of culture, while others criticize him as a ruthless leader who imposed his will through force and coercion. Forced conversion of conquered peoples to Christianity and the destruction of their cultural identities remain contentious aspects of his legacy. Moreover, the sustainability of his empire was questioned following his death, as it quickly fragmented under his successors due to the inherent challenges of governing such vast territories. Charlemagne's rise to power and the subsequent expansion of the Carolingian Empire directly influenced the course of European history. By establishing a precedent for centralized governance, he set the stage for future empires. His reign connected deeply with subsequent developments in medieval politics and religion, marking the beginning of a transformative era that shaped the geopolitical landscape of medieval Europe. Heading: Charlemagne, the bloodthirsty emperor of Dark Age Europe, introduces a complex view of Charlemagne, intertwining his celebrated role as a unifier and his notorious reputation for ruthless conquest. Charlemagne, often hailed as the Father of Europe, was instrumental in shaping the continent during the early Middle Ages. His reign, beginning in 768 AD, was marked by ambitious military campaigns that expanded the Frankish Empire significantly. The term bloodthirsty in this context highlights the relentless and often brutal nature of these expansions, which were pivotal in consolidating his power, but not without significant human cost. Charlemagne's martial approach was significant, as it laid the foundation for the Carolingian Renaissance, a revival of art, culture, and religion across Europe. His forceful conversions to Christianity, especially against the Saxons, are often cited as examples of his brutal methods. The massacre of Verdun in 782, where around 4,500 Saxons were executed, exemplifies his ruthless approach to consolidating power and spreading Christianity. Secondly, his campaigns against the Avars further demonstrate his military prowess and thirst for expansion, establishing buffer states that secured his empire's borders. Contemporary and historical opinions on Charlemagne's methods vary. Opponents argue that his actions were necessary for the political stability and cultural development of Europe. Support for learning and literacy, embodied in the establishment of schools and promotion of the Latin language, contributed significantly to European identity. Detractors, however, point out that his coercive strategies and brutal military campaigns resulted in widespread suffering and loss of life, questioning the moral implications of his rule. Controversy surrounds Charlemagne's legacy, with some viewing him as a visionary leader, while others see him as a ruthless conqueror. His aggressive expansionist policies, though effective in unifying Europe, also sparked internal strife and resentment among subjugated peoples. Furthermore, his alliance with the papacy and the forced Christianization campaigns stirred religious and cultural tensions that reversed